Do you generally think there's actually more of it going on and guys just have had no idea all along?
I mean, that's not even a question. This is just the tiny, tiny tip of the iceberg. The stories are just endless. I mean, I've never heard of a woman that's raised money that hasn't had some just super sketchy situations. It's just part of how things work. So I believe everything and assume that it's 10% of what's going on.
So the real question is, like, what's it like on the flip side? So, like, what's it like for women in tech on your side?
There's this hashtag Me Too, and it's like if you've been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted, not just assaulted, but harassed, you post your story with this Me Too hashtag. And so when you hear, oh, anyone post who's been sexually harassed, you're like, that's everyone. Like street harassment, had your ass grabbed at a club, whatever.
I have been out with a woman once, and I was at the club. I was unbelievably shocked at how many guys talk to her. Because no one talks to me.
Right.
But we just walked from the front of the club to the back. This is in LA. I was like, is this normal? She's like, oh yeah, this is just every night I go out.
If you go to a club, you will probably be touched in a way that you don't want to. You will definitely be like fending people off, which is, you know, it's one of those things like, okay, people go to clubs to hook up. But then if you're just trying to go with your girlfriends and hang out, like it makes it a not fun experience because you're on guard constantly, just like fending people off. Like, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact.
And then so with the Me Too thing, is it basically like giving people an outlet or showing like, holy shit, a lot of people have been harassed?
Yeah. As a woman, I just assume, oh, everyone knows that everyone's been harassed. And a lot of people are sharing stories of being raped, sexually assaulted, molested when they were children, all that too.
Is there any stories that stand out for you in your experiences? Like business and conferences?
Whenever you're at a conference, you are, as a woman, I think like constantly setting boundaries. I mean, I'm thinking of a conference I went to last week and there was a guy I was hanging out with and he was kind of like leaning in and I was kind of leaning out, you know, like just with body language to be like, no, not interested.
Did you actually communicate or just more physically?
Just physically, because he got the message.
What is acceptable and what's not, and how can we improve as a culture, society, group of people?
So I think a really important part is the power dynamic. So I'll share the story. You know, there was someone, he had sort of presented himself as someone interested in buying my company. And we had emailed about meeting up in person. In response to that email, he sent me an email that just said, "You're very photogenic." And that was the whole email. It's text. It's always hard to determine tone, but I took that to mean he's fishing to take this relationship in a different way, right? We've said this is a business relationship. He's fishing to say, maybe she wants this to be a different relationship. The reason why I think it was inappropriate and should not have been done in this situation is because of the power dynamic. So he had presented himself as someone who's maybe interested in acquiring my company. As soon as he starts to bring the relationship flirtatious or sexual or whatever you want to call it, now it puts me in this position where it's like, is this how I have to interact with him in order to go forward? Do I have to put myself in that situation of fending him off and potentially making him very angry, which very often happens when you shoot someone down? So in that instance, I just chose to not respond, and surprise, surprise, I never heard from him again.